Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the impact of all things tariffs coming out of the Trump administration. Also tonight, how AI is being put to use by the Arizona Supreme Court. And butterfly sculptures raise funds and awareness for issues involving homelessness. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Another day, another round of volatility on Wall Street. The market took a nosedive amid concerns about the worsening trade war with China. Specifically, the Trump administration today clarifying that the previously announced 125% tariff on imports from China was in addition to a 20% tariff already imposed. The result was another free fall on Wall Street. The Dow was down over 1,000 points, or 2.5%. NASDAQ was down 4.33%, and the S&P fell 3.5%. Democrats on Capitol Hill are increasingly saying that the striking ups and downs on Wall Street need to be investigated for possible stock manipulation.
We need to get to the bottom of the possible stock manipulation that is unfolding before the American people, including what, if any, advanced knowledge did members of the House Republican Conference have of Trump's decision to pause the reckless tariffs that he put into place.
Indeed, Arizona Congressman Ruben Gallego today sent a letter to President Trump's chief of staff asking for an investigation into possible insider trading among White House allies. A new study shows that Trump administration tariffs will cost middle-class households $3,400 a year. A study out of Yale University takes into account the president's 90-day pause on country-specific tariffs and the 145% tariff on Chinese goods. The study found that the tariffs will hit lower-income Americans harder as a share of their total income. And Amazon prices will likely raise due to tariffs. That's according to Amazon's CEO, who said today that the online retailer of third-party sellers will try to keep prices low, but will pass any increased costs on to customers. The CEO added that Amazon has not as yet seen any significant changes in customer behavior. And the U.S. House today narrowly adopted a blueprint for a Republican budget that includes cutting taxes and government spending.
Now the real work begins in the committees. We have 11 committees in the House ready to go to work now. Over the next 2 weeks, as members are in their districts during Easter, the committees will be working and leadership will be meeting between the House and Senate, working with President Trump on the details to start that process the day we get back so that we can deliver real wins for the American people.
The bill was passed after getting conservative Republicans to end their holdout. Democrats were against the plan due to concerns over massive cuts over social programs like Social Security and Medicaid. But House Speaker Mike Johnson, this is his response.
We have a responsibility to get our country back on a sound fiscal trajectory and also make sure that we ensure and protect those essential programs. The Democrats, as I noted this morning, have said that we're going to gut Medicaid. It is not true. We're going to protect the benefits that everyone is legally entitled to. The beneficiaries who have a legal right to that, it will be preserved. Those are essential safety net programs that Republicans support. The President has made clear Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid will not take a hit. So you can count on that and you can watch it develop as we go.
Approval of the plan is considered a victory for Republican leaders and President Trump. And as we mentioned, the Trump administration today clarified that tariffs on imports from China are now at 145%, not the 125% announced earlier in the week. The president's tariff policies are raising concerns over the possibility of a recession. For more on that, we welcome Eddie Davila. He's assistant chair of the Department of Supply Chain at ASU's W.P. Carey School of Business. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you
excited.
bet. Is this okay? The tariffs, they're on again, they're off again, they're 90%, now they're not 125 to 145. What do you make of all this?
It's chaos. I mean, what are we supposed to think? Things change. Maybe we should check our phone right now to see if things changed again. But I like to tell people, supply chain managers, we're people too. And so when chaos arises in your home, at work, you don't know what to do. Some people panic, some people freeze up, some people make a chaotic plan. Some people slow down, and I think that's what's happening out there right now with supply chain managers. They're trying to figure out what's the best thing to do in this moment, and maybe what's going to be the best thing to do tomorrow.
Are there certain sectors that you see being affected most by these tariffs?
Most is probably going to be those that are going to be things coming in from China. So those are going to be your electronic goods, your industrial goods, perhaps a little bit of clothing, but it's really going to be those electronics that we bring in.
When these tariffs hit, if these tariffs, I mean, goodness gracious, we don't even know what's going to hit, when it's going to hit, how and why. But if they hit, as the Trump administration seems to want, and it seems to have designed, different aspects of supply chain, whether it's transportation, whether it's storage, these sorts of things, what happens there?
So I think the first thing, that's a great question, because the first thing we have to understand is that ultimately this first phase, the tariff, is going to impact the price of bringing it into the country alone. A lot of the architecture of your supply chain isn't going to be, it's not going to be disrupted right away. But down the line, as the price of all of your ingredients change, as the price of labor changes, as the price of fuel changes, that's when we're going to see a lot of those changes. But for right now, I think in the next 2 or 3 months, depending on the industry that you're in, we're going to see changes happening mostly just to that price. But wait and see for what happens next.
So if you work at a port, if you are a truck driver, these sorts of things, what are you expecting?
I think there's some people that are very afraid at some of these ports. I spoke with somebody from the Port of Seattle just a couple of days ago, and they've already been seeing some pullback in the amount of things that are heading up to the Northwest. The things that they're trying to export out of there and the things that they bring in through that port, there's going to be some radical changes in that area, and I think there's a lot of fear at some of these ports that they're going to see the number of calls that come in drop significantly and really impact not just the goods that are going in and out, but also, as you said, the trucking community, the rail community, the warehousing community, and that's why I was saying we don't know what's going to happen with that. That's going to roll out over the next few months.
Are you worried or concerned or at all? I mean, Arizona's close to California. We're close to these ports, especially. There are rail lines through Arizona. I mean, are Arizona industries in general and certain sectors in particular going to be affected by this?
The west side is very much tied to what's going on at the LA and Long Beach ports. It's very strategically, I mean, the reason that it's there is it's about a 6-hour drive from the Port of LA. So the things that are going to be happening in the Port of LA and Long Beach ultimately will reverberate to the west side, to the rail that's going through there. So that it's definitely going to happen. What the impact is going to be, I don't know. It depends on whether organizations choose to buy ahead. You know what? We just pulled back 90 days on these tariffs. Maybe we should go ahead and buy a lot of things right now. And if we do, that's going to impact the amount of goods that are going to be stored on the west side. On the other hand, if organizations take a wait and see approach, then we may see things stay a little bit sort of where they're at right now.
Are there aspects of all this, though, where the damage has already been done?
Oh, for sure. As I said, people are out there trying to make decisions about suppliers. I've just, you know, if I'm a manufacturer in the United States and I'm using a supplier that's in China, and that supplier and I have been working together for 10 years, 20 years, we have a really close relationship. For the last couple of weeks, we've been trying to decide, do we want to continue to work together? And then all of a sudden, the tariffs are, well, let's not use China as an example because those have been raised.
Yes.
But if I'm working with a supplier in Vietnam, let's say, and I have a relationship with them, that relationship has been disrupted. I don't know if I can use you anymore. Oh, wait, I can use you. But now with that 90-day holdover, for these next 90 days, I think that they're exploring other options, and I'm exploring other options too, because we have no idea what's going to happen.
Do you have other options? If the widget that you're making, it requires all of these things from Vietnam, from Cambodia, from Thailand, all these places, and now all of a sudden either the tariffs have gone up or you don't know if they're going to go up or not. Where do you turn?
There may not be an option in the short run, but you start to explore options of things that you can do in the long run, or you start to look for substitutes, or perhaps you start to figure out how you can offset some of the costs that you're going to have to incur if you continue to use that supplier.
And does that prove the Trump administration's point, though, that America is too dependent on some of these offshore areas, that things that are made in Vietnam and Cambodia and Thailand should be made in America?
It's possible, but at the same time, you're also looking at it from the perspective of, are we too dependent on that? If we want a world where we make everything ourselves, then that's possible. But if, on the other hand, we're looking at raising the amount of disposable income that we have, buying the electronics that we've been able to for the last few decades, getting cars and having all the choice, well, then we're going to lose some of that along the way. And that's kind of the trade-off that we're making. Do we want something that's more self-sufficient, or would we rather have more choice?
So this basically is a fundamental shift in trade and in power flows. I mean, that's what's happening right now, isn't it?
That is what is attempting to happen, but again, with the back and forth of let's have tariffs, let's not have tariffs, let's increase them, let's not have them be as high, it really creates tension inside the supply chain for your business leaders to know what signals are you sending to me? What exactly do you want me to do?
And last question here, and thank you for coming in, very interesting conversation. At what point does the on again, off again, yes, no, here it is, there it is, now it's gone again. At what point does business, or can business, just supersede this and say, we're going to do what we're going to do because they can't make up their minds?
I think we're seeing a little bit of that already. I think some organizations are trying to make these short-term decisions of let's buy a lot of inventory, let's start moving our suppliers. And there's a lot of organizations that are saying, you know what, let's just keep business going in this direction. Maybe we're planning in the back room for alternatives, but why shake up the supply chain at this point in time when we don't exactly know what might happen 3 months, 6 months, or a year from now?
Eddie Davila, ASU, W.P. Carey School of Business. Good information. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.
Hi, I'm Catherine Anaya, host of Horizonte, the groundbreaking program that has served as a platform for Arizona's Latino community for more than 2 decades.
Latinos care about issues across the board, just like everyone else.
There's a lot of diversity in thought and opinion. We just need to make sure parents understand the value in having multilingual students.
We like to hear our voices heard. Stream episodes online at azpbs.org, YouTube, or on the PBS app.
It's 50 years of Austin City Limits with Juanes.
Saturday at 11 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, tariffs that remain on China and other nations ripple further across the global economy. That's coming up at 6 on Arizona PBS.
The Arizona Supreme Court is using new AI avatar technology to help communicate better with the public. Take a look.
I'm Daniel, one of the Arizona Supreme Court's new AI reporters. You might be wondering why the court decided to use an AI-generated spokesperson like me to share its news. The answer is simple. We want to help you understand the court and its decisions better and want to make sure you get accurate information directly from us in a timely way.
To learn more about the Supreme Court's use of AI technology, we welcome State Supreme Court Chief Justice Ann Scott Timmer. Good to see you again. Thanks for
joining us. It's nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, what we just watched, that's not real.
It's not real.
Goodness gracious. I mean, how do you feel about that?
It's a little terrifying to see something
yes.
that looks so real, which is why the very first thing these reporters say is we're AI generated.
Okay, why go this particular route?
Well, this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and the court has been wanting to do, which is get out and communicate more directly with people who are interested in our decisions and whatever else we're up to with what we're doing. So try to not rely on the media to report our decisions. So we now do press releases to explain what a decision is about in more layperson's terms. But I wanted video, because video is where people get their news. They don't have time to read through this stuff. So we were thinking about people to use and what should we do, And our PIO, Alberto Rodriguez, brought it to us saying, hey, we can get avatars to do it. And it was sold.
Okay, and so I think that was, we saw, that was Daniel, correct?
That was Daniel.
And Victoria is also an AI generator. She doesn't exist either. She's not real either.
She's not real
She's
either.
not real. Okay, who puts the words in their mouths? I mean, are they just making this stuff up? They're not making this stuff.
No, they are. This is not use of generative AI to dissect our opinions to come up with what they think is relevant. This is coming right from the justices themselves, ourselves. So we write, whoever the authoring justice is for an opinion will author the first stab at a press release. And all of the justices on the court must approve that, and then also approve a voiced script for the avatars to speak. So really, you're hearing our voices through these avatars.
But why, again, use the avatar when everything you said could have been done by a real human being?
Well, you can't do it as quickly. We found that out. You know, as you know, since you do TV, it takes a while to make a production. It takes a while to maybe you have take one, take two. We would never hold up an opinion waiting for the person to be available to be able to be the spokesperson. So with this, it can be fed in to a computer. It takes 20 minutes to come out. I'm also hoping to be able possibly to do this in other languages, in Spanish, that kind of thing. So that's something that we're set for the future to explore for now.
And again, those are things that can turn on a dime because of this technology.
Exactly.
Yeah. The court's ruling on the 19th century abortion law, there was a lot of reporting on that. There was some confusion. How much of this is because of that?
Not much. I've been thinking about this for a couple of years, as I said. I started my term as Chief Justice in July, and it was immediately part of our strategic agenda to do more in promoting people's faith and confidence in the courts, which includes letting them know what we do. I have to tell you, with that abortion decision, I did have the thought thinking, gosh, I wish we had these things in place now with and in retrospect, our own kind of a summary distilling of what this opinion means, what it doesn't mean, here's the key takeaway, that kind of thing, and with a video would have been great.
So did you think, just out of curiosity, did you think the court mishandled that narrative a bit?
Mishandled's a strong term. I wish that we had the insight to do this kind of thing sooner.
Okay, so now Victoria and Daniel, are they being used now? Are they already at work?
Yes, they're working.
So they're already working.
They're working. If you go to our website today, you will see Newsroom with their little pictures on it, and you can click on it. And for every decision that comes out, I think we have a new case coming out tomorrow. It will issue simultaneously the opinion, the news release, and then you can just see what it's about from one of them.
So every single decision, you're going to have these avatars doing their business?
Yes, every single one.
Wow. Was there much debate among the justices about this? Was there any discouraging words or wait a minute, let's hold off here?
No discouraging words. I think we are all very cognizant of the fact that we need to be better at communicating with people directly and accurately about what our opinions say. So this was fully embraced by everyone.
Yeah, and is there plans now for the future of use of AI in different forms, different ways? You kind of referred to this earlier, but to expand the role of AI in different ways?
Sure, we use it now for quite a bit. We just launched something that built a bot that will help people who have traffic tickets, for example. If you want to walk you through,
that's right.
This is what I need. How can I get a traffic ticket? And it's more personalized to you. We have others with something called Gavel, which will walk you through what you need and where you're going to go. So I anticipate we'll do more of that. I'd like to do more with the avatars for teaching people.
Yes.
So we're also going to be using them we'll get a third avatar, no name yet, which will teach you and help you out when you're helping yourself in court.
Chief Justice Ann Scott Timmer, Arizona Supreme Court, good to have you here, good to see you again. You're real now, you're the real.
This is me.
All right.
I know, I would look better if it wasn't me.
Double checking now. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Phoenix Rotary 100 and local artists created butterfly sculptures to raise funds and highlight the challenges of those facing homelessness. We recently learned more about the event from Daniel Capote, chair and club president of Phoenix Rotary 100, and Lisa Henning, co-chair and board member. Thank you both for joining us on Arizona Horizon. Good to have you both here. Dan, we'll start with you. Take Flight. What's this all about?
So Take Flight, we're part of Phoenix Rotary 100, and this is the second annual event. It's a fundraiser where we've got this year about 40 artists around the valley making 50 different butterflies, and there's all different sizes, these are the smallest ones, and it's used to be a fundraiser and to help us with some of the grants and how we do community service.
Yeah, and Lisa, the idea of butterflies representing people in transition, is that correct?
Yes, transformation. So a lot of our club focuses on impacting homelessness in the community, and we feel that people going through homelessness are in a strong period of transition in their lives, and so butterflies represent obviously great transformation and inspiration and hopefully something motivating to people to be impactful in their journey.
Indeed, and Dan, again, so you have artists, okay, and what, they're just given a blank piece of metal and go to it?
we provide, and these are actually stainless steel or steel, and we give them the blank metal. So these just look like silver metal when we gave them to them, and then they have carte blanche to do whatever they want. We've got two samples here. One's got blown glass and one's got tile, but a lot of them are painted. There's people that have put wood on them. There's people that have done welded extra metal on them. So they can kind of do what they want.
And they can make them these are the smallest ones, correct?
These are the smallest ones. There's a 30-inch version and a 40-inch version, and those like go on stakes in your yard.
Oh, yeah, but they do.
They're more like for landscaped areas.
Lisa, how did you figure out which artists would participate, or did they ask to participate?
Well, we have such a strong artist community, which is fabulous, and Dan and I actually just did a lot of pounding the pavement in Old Town on Main Street and really just going into galleries and asking them and the people that they highlight if they'd be interested in participating, and we just had such a wonderful response to artists getting on board and being charitable and even recommending other people they knew and their friends. And so we have a lot of repeat artists in our second year, and then even them bringing other friends to the table saying, hey, we have someone that would want to do this. So we felt very grateful.
And we partner, the Shemer family actually is part of our club going way back, but we partner with the Shemer Art Museum. So they have a lot of artists that they work with. And so some people that heard about it through there, and they have youth classes and different ones. So that helped us kind of spread the word the first year especially.
You mentioned the Shemer Art Gallery. They're still on display there?
Yes. Yeah, so the Shemer Art Gallery is where the event is held during their Art in the Garden event, which was over the last weekend. And then we have a private event, which is the final end of the auction that was on Sunday. But all the butterflies are on display there. The ones that are left are still there for a little short time. But yeah, so that's where they have it all over the whole weekend.
Yeah, do the big ones sell? I mean, they have to go, but they must go for a pretty penny, huh?
Well, obviously, depending on the size of your yard or patio area is somewhat of which one you might choose to buy. But the large, it's funny, we had that discussion last year. Like we actually had the couple that bought one of the largest last year decide to keep it inside their home. So as much as
it's almost like a piece of art.
Advocate it being out in your yard, some people have chosen to display it inside their house as well.
Big enough house, I guess it'll fit, huh?
But the big ones can go for as much as a couple $1,000 or more.
There you go.
Once you get in the auction, and the little ones are in the hundreds, the mediums are kind of right in the middle range.
Dan, before you go, talk to me about Phoenix Rotary 100.
So we were, and we talked about the name a little bit, we were the 100th Rotary Club in the world. There are now over 40,000. There's over 1 million Rotarians around the world in over 100 countries. I don't remember the exact number. We are a service organization. We focus a lot on volunteering and a lot about grants and giving back to the community. We, over this same past weekend, we have the 94th annual speech contest. We do things with the Outstanding Young Person of the Year with the city. And we do a lot between food banks, just giving to nonprofits. We support a lot of local nonprofits. So, Rotary is all about serving your community, giving back, and that's what this is to raise funds for.
And again, we should remind people again that this is for helping youth and helping youth homeless and transition and all these kinds of things. That's where the money goes. That's where a service organization focuses.
That's
right?
exactly correct.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you both for being here, and congratulations on a great success once again with your metal butterflies taking flight. Good to have you both here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.